A man was taking pictures of his daughter doing a handstand. Nothing seemed unusual at the time, but when he later looked at the photos at home, something caught his eye. In the background of the picture, the shape of a little girl appeared. Neither the man nor his daughter had noticed her while taking the photo, and she was invisible until reviewing the images later. Concerned, the man contacted authorities, who searched the area but found no sign of the girl. Some suggested the image had been digitally altered, but the family insists that's impossible. It must have been a ghost. In December 2021, a New Zealand father named Tom Phillips disappeared into the wilderness with his 3 children from the small rural town of Maricopa. Authorities believe he took them after losing legal custody, and when he failed to appear in court in 2022, a nationwide search began. The area surrounding Maricopa is incredibly rugged, dense bush, steep hills, caves, and a harsh coastline. Phillips was known locally as an experienced bushman and hunter, which many people believe helped him survive in the wilderness for years while avoiding the police. Over time, there were occasional sightings. In 2023, people reported seeing Phillips and the children near the remote areas of the Waikato region. In one widely shared video filmed by teenagers in October 2024, the group could be seen walking through thick bushes, all wearing camouflage clothing and carrying large backpacks. When the teenagers asked them if anyone knew they were there, the child reportedly replied, "Only you." Authorities also suspected Phillips may have been involved in several break-ins and robberies during those years, possibly searching for supplies. The case gripped the entire country. Then, in the early hours of September 8, 2025, everything suddenly came to an end. Police responded to a reported robbery at a commercial property in the small town of Pio Pio. Officers soon spotted Tom Phillips riding a quad bike with one of his children. A pursuit began. Police deployed road spikes, forcing the quad bike off the road. When officers approached, gunfire erupted. One officer was struck in the head and seriously injured. A second police unit responded, and the confrontation ended with Tom Phillips being fatally wounded at the scene. The child who had been with him was found alive. That child later provided crucial information that helped police locate the other 2 children at a remote campsite deep in the bush later that same day. All 3 children were found alive and physically unharmed, ending the nearly 4-year search. The children's mother later said she was deeply relieved that the ordeal had finally come to an end, though she also described the outcome as heartbreaking. Even now, many people in New Zealand continue to ask difficult questions. How did a father manage to hide with 3 children in the wilderness for nearly 4 years? Did anyone secretly help them survive out there? And what really happened during those long years in the bush? A boy was wandering through the woods at night, recording his adventure as he walked along a dark trail. At first, everything seemed quiet. Then suddenly, something terrifying happened.
Oh my gosh!
Out of the darkness, a humanoid figure suddenly leapt into view, startling the boy so badly that he instantly broke into a frantic sprint. The footage only captures brief, chaotic glimpses of the figure. Was this a genuine encounter with some strange creature hiding in the forest, or simply a friend pulling off a prank? Whatever it was, it definitely looked terrifying. 2 friends were visiting Gettysburg when one of them decided to take this photo while exploring the area. The picture shows a bridge at night, with their friend standing on the other side, holding a flashlight. At first, nothing seemed unusual, but later, when they looked at the image again, something unsettling caught their attention. In the middle of the bridge, a faint, blurry figure appears to be walking, barely visible in the darkness. What makes it even stranger is that according to them, no one else was on the bridge when the photo was taken. A person was hiking alone through dense forest when they decided to film their surroundings, capturing just a few seconds of footage that might be shocking. In that brief clip, a large, hairy figure can be seen moving slowly through the trees, completely unaware of the camera. The creature fits the classic description of Bigfoot perfectly, including the poor camera quality. In this day and age, the footage should have been sharper, right? A Reddit user, Ghost in a Chair Tattoo, was out camping in the mountains when he heard a woman scream. They shunned their flashlight into the darkness, but there was no one in sight, and they didn't want to go into the woods to find out. Some insisted the sound was nothing more than coyotes. Others weren't convinced, saying noises like that should be reported, just in case. A man was hiking through a quiet forest when he decided to record his surroundings. That's when something unusual appeared on the trail ahead. A shadow, shaped exactly like a human, crossed the path, yet no one was there to cast it. Could it simply have been a trick of the light? Honestly, the clarity of the human shape makes it hard to believe it was just an illusion, right? A person was outside somewhere in California, recording the night sky, when a strange, unsettling noise suddenly filled the air.
What could be the cause of that?
The sound was low, deep, and echoed in a way that felt almost unnatural, accompanied by a rumbling that made the ground shake. At first, some viewers suggested it could be heavy construction machinery in the distance, but there were no buildings, cranes, or structures nearby that could create or reflect such a sound. The noise seemed to spread strangely across the open sky, almost as if it had no clear source at all. What happened next is unknown. A woman was sitting alone in her car after a long hike when she took this selfie. She sent it to a friend who immediately noticed something off and told her to look back. Confused, the woman checked the photo again, and in the rear window a hand appeared. It wasn't there when she took the picture, or at least she hadn't seen or heard anything. When she looked outside, no one else was around. It was completely quiet. Some versions of the story claim the woman vanished shortly after sharing the photo, though details are scarce. Does anyone know more about this? YouTuber V347 Vlogs was hiking alone when he suddenly started hearing strange noises. Curious, but also a little nervous, he decided to investigate where the sounds were coming from. That's when he noticed something moving on the mountainside ahead. He quickly pulled out his camera, trying to capture the figure. What appeared in the footage was unsettling. It looked like a human figure standing on all fours, with long dark hair and what seemed to be horns on its head. Moments later, the footage abruptly ended shortly after he zoomed in. Whoever, or whatever was out there, and what their intentions were, remains a mystery. But the real question is, why would someone looking like that be alone on a mountain in the first place? In April 2024, 37-year-old Danielle Lopez set out on a camping trip in the Pine Barrens of New Jersey. She told her mother she'd be staying at the Brendan T. Byrne State Forest campground for the weekend. Danielle had some camping experience from childhood, but she wasn't known to be an avid camper. The next morning, April 13th, Danielle stopped at a Wawa convenience store in Vincenttown, New Jersey around 9:11 a.m. Security cameras captured her buying a cup of coffee. That would become the last confirmed sighting of her in a public place. Days later, when Danielle stopped answering calls, her mother grew concerned and eventually reported her missing to the New Jersey State Police on April 24th. Investigators soon located Danielle's car, a 2008 blue Hyundai Accent, on Lost Lane, a remote dirt road deep in the woods about 13 miles from the Wawa. The vehicle was stuck in a large puddle in the sand. The battery was dead, but when investigators jump-started the car, the hazard lights turned on. Inside the car, police found several of Danielle's personal belongings, but one important item was missing: her phone. Despite extensive searches of the surrounding forest using drones, helicopters, search dogs, ATVs, and ground teams, there was no sign of Danielle. Then investigators discovered something unexpected. Two people who had been filming with a GoPro camera in the area on April 13th came forward. The footage showed Danielle walking down Lost Lane around 6 p.m. that evening. She appeared calm and did not seem to be in distress. That brief moment on camera became the last known sighting of Danielle Lopez. Since then, police have interviewed dozens of people and followed every lead. So far, investigators say there is no evidence pointing to foul play, but after months of searching, Danielle has still not been found. Her mother continues to hold on to hope. Outside her home, she tied a yellow ribbon around a tree, a symbol meant to welcome Danielle home if she ever returns. For now, the mystery remains. What happened to Danielle Lopez after she was last seen walking alone down the remote road in Pine Barrens? If you have any information about the disappearance of Danielle Lopez, please contact the New Jersey State Police Department Missing Persons Unit. A woman was driving home in the northwest of the United Kingdom around 2 a.m. As she changed lanes, her dash cam caught a movement. When the footage is zoomed in, the shape looks tall and unnervingly stiff, with its arms extended forward, moving in a way that doesn't seem quite human. It could have been a lone person, but at that hour and in that area, pedestrians are extremely rare, and it wouldn't make much sense. To this day, she has no idea who or what that was. A camper was chilling on a patch of grass when something unsettling caught their eye. A seemingly ordinary grasshopper, but upon closer look, it was unlike anything they had ever seen. Red, unnatural growths were protruding from its body, twisting and creeping outward as if the insect itself was being taken over from within. The grasshopper had fallen victim to a parasite called Ophiocordyceps, a fungus that specifically targets insects. Once attached, the fungus spreads inside, consuming the host's tissue until it dies. But even in death, the fungus continues to grow, pushing out stalk-like structures, its reproductive organs, designed to release spores and infect the next victim. A horrible, yet interesting sight to see. A YouTuber, Metro on the Move, was camping in the White Mountains with a group of fellow hikers. It was early morning, and while most of the campers were still asleep, he was suddenly jolted awake by a loud thump against his tent. At first he froze, then realized that a bear was outside, aggressively clawing at the tent. Panicking, he began yelling to scare it away. Thankfully, the bear backed off, but it didn't leave the area entirely. Grabbing his camera, he started recording the encounter as the bear circled nearby, leaving claw marks on the tent and sniffing around.
You gotta be kidding me. Oh my god, dude. I just got attacked by a bear out here. Oh my god, dude. It's got a claw mark in it. Holy... Are you serious?
Yeah.
Oh my god, dude.
Good morning.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god.
It's up here too.
That's on my tent, dude. It attacked my tent. Hey! Oh my god.
Look at the pole.
Hey, yo! Hey! Yeah. Bear attacked my tent. Hey!
Other campers quickly joined in, their presence helping to push the bear away.
Oh, he's right there.
Right where?
Bear! Oh my god. He's right there, just next to you. That's me. Behind you.
Yes. No running.
No, I get in the light. Oh, there he is.
Get out here, Bear.
There he is.
Hey!
Get away.
Go! Oh my gosh, dude. Hey!
Get away.
Despite the chaos, no one was harmed, though the experience was heart-pounding. A man was on vacation with his family, enjoying the calm beauty of a quiet lakeside spot. While filming the scenery with his camera, he noticed a pair of white humanoid shapes moving on the opposite side of the water. It seemed impossible to explain. They appeared suddenly, drifting across the landscape with no visible cause, and then just as quickly they vanished. The pale figures looked eerily like ghosts, their movement fluid yet otherworldly. Some said it was just a camera glitch or an optical illusion, but the way the shapes moved and their fleeting presence made it hard to dismiss. Maybe they were lost souls, stuck in time. While camping in an old shed, a man encountered something interesting and recorded this video. According to the uploader, the video shows a wolf spider, but it wasn't alone. Tiny baby spiders clung to its back. The light hit the spider just right, reflecting off its eyes and glassy legs, giving it a sparkling, almost jewel-like appearance. Would you still camp there? On June 24, 2023, 28-year-old Ian O'Brien set out on a solo hike in the La Plata Mountains of Colorado, near Echo Basin and Hesperus Mountain. Ian was an experienced outdoorsman who knew the rugged terrain well. Friends described him as someone who loved exploring the wilderness and often ventured into the mountains on his own. That afternoon, he began scouting a route toward the summit of Hesperus Mountain. At around 6 p.m, Ian sent a photo of himself at the summit to his partner, showing he had successfully reached the top. But after that moment, something went wrong. Ian never returned to camp. When he failed to come back that evening, his partner and friends quickly grew worried and contacted authorities. Search and rescue teams began combing the steep, overgrown terrain around the mountain. After several days, the official search was suspended, but friends, volunteers, and members of the local community continued looking for him. For weeks, dozens of people searched the wilderness around Echo Basin, determined to find their missing friends. Then, on September 2nd, 2023, nearly 10 weeks after Ian disappeared, 2 fishermen made a discovery in a remote part of the West Mancos River. They had found a body. The Montezuma County coroner later confirmed it was Ian O'Brien. Investigators determined that his death was a result of accidental drowning. Officials explained that his body had likely been hidden beneath 3 to 4 feet of water, making it impossible to see during earlier searches. While the discovery brought closure to his family and friends, the loss was devastating. Those who knew Ian remembered him as someone full of life and adventure. Some hikers came across a strange phenomenon on a road during their trek. The asphalt seemed to bubble, forming unusual pockets across the surface, almost as if the ground itself were boiling. When these were pried open, massive stones were revealed beneath. Each pocket contained similar stones, leaving everyone there puzzled. No one seemed to know why this was happening. Was it a natural phenomenon, some strange geological activity, or perhaps the result of human interference? A man decided to explore the woods at night when suddenly a sharp, unexpected sound made him freeze. He swung the camera around, scanning the trees and underbrush, but at first saw nothing. Then, low on the forest floor, he noticed something.
Oh, what the is that?
A dark creature lying on the ground. He had no idea what he was looking at. Some viewers suggested it might simply be an opossum or another woodland animal resting in the dark. But others pointed out something strange. If it really was an opossum, wouldn't it have run away the moment it noticed the man approaching? So was it just an animal caught at a strange angle, or could something more mysterious have been hiding in the woods that night? In September 2025, 6-year-old Darius McDougall vanished during a family camping trip in the Crow's Nest Pass region of Alberta, Canada, near Island Lake Campground. That weekend, a large group of family members had gathered at the campsite to celebrate several birthdays. There were 10 children in total, including Darius. At one point, the children were asked to help tidy up the campsite while the adults packed their things. During that time, Darius and 2 other children walked across a nearby body of water to play. About 20 minutes later, the 2 children returned, but Darius was no longer with them. His family immediately began searching the area, calling his name through the forest. When they couldn't find him, they contacted the RCMP, who arrived within about 30 to 45 minutes. What followed was a massive search operation. More than 400 search and rescue volunteers from Alberta, British Columbia, and Saskatchewan joined the effort, along with 60 RCMP officers. Search teams used dogs, helicopters, drones, ATVs, and ground crews to comb the rugged wilderness. But despite the enormous effort, not a single trace of Darius was found. After 11 days, the official ground search was called off. Investigators later said they have no credible evidence that Darius was abducted, though the investigation remains open. The search was made even more difficult because Darius is autistic, meaning he might not respond when people call his name. Searchers even played his favourite song in the woods, hoping it might draw him out. Months later, his family continues to return to the campsite where he was last seen, refusing to give up hope. His step-grandfather still keeps vigil at the location, waiting and hoping for answers. But no one knows what happened to little Darius or where he went. This man was driving along a quiet forest road late at night on his way to his campsite when something unusual caught his attention. As he slowly continued down the trail, the dashcam captured this: a large, dark figure crossing the road. The headlights illuminated it just enough to reveal a towering silhouette with a hunched posture, moving in a strangely human-like way. Startled, the driver stopped the car, unsure of what he had just witnessed. A Reddit user was escorting a church group to a weekend camp in the Poconos, Pennsylvania. It was a kind of trip filled with activities: climbing, hiking, boating, and visits to a small nature center and museum on the property. Inside the nature center were displays of antlers, animal bones, turtle shells, arrowheads, and old pottery. Educational pieces, harmless. At least that's what he thought. As he handled some of the items, something caught his attention. One bone didn't look right, and he would know. He was an environmental scientist. He had studied bones. This one wasn't from any woodland animal. It was a human mandible, a lower jawbone. He immediately alerted the camp director. Soon after, state police launched an investigation. The bone was examined, but no missing persons reports matched it. No recent disappearances, nothing to suggest a modern crime. The camp itself had history. Before it became a retreat, the land had been used for timber operations and ice harvesting until the 1920s. Workers once lived and labored there in harsh conditions. So perhaps the jawbone belonged to someone who died long ago. To this day, no definitive identity has ever been attached to that bone. A man was recording during his nighttime hike, slowly panning across the trees, when something made him freeze.
What the is that? What is that?
In the distance, something was standing there. When he zoomed in, it didn't look familiar. It appeared upright, watching him. That's when he ran. Some viewers later suggested it might have been a person wearing a mask, which is definitely terrifying. A family was driving along a quiet country road when one of them started recording the scenery. Suddenly, in the distance, a bright light appeared. There was nothing else around for miles, no houses, no buildings. It was just a glowing orb, hovering in the middle of nowhere, almost as if it were alive. Maybe it was a reflection of something. The family could never figure it out, and honestly, neither can we. This person was staying in a rural area of the French Alps when late at night, something unusual in the sky caught their attention. A bright blue light streaked from the clouds toward the ground. The distance and the thick cloud cover made it difficult to identify what was producing the light. Some viewers suggested it could have been an atmospheric phenomenon, such as lightning reflecting through ice crystals or other natural causes. Others thought it resembled descriptions often associated with UFO sightings. So what do you think it was? Now, if you're enjoying my videos, please consider subscribing to the channel. Your support helps me creating new stories every week, and it means the world to me. Thank you so much for watching. Reddit user Colddeck was filming their surroundings while driving when they accidentally captured something terrifying. At first glance, it's easy to dismiss what you see. The figure's long, dark hair could be mistaken for the branch of a nearby palm tree. But slowed down, the figure appears to stand some distance from the tree, revealing a more unsettling presence. The apparition looks like a pale woman wearing a long, flowing white gown. Her transparent form and sorrowful stance evoke the classic weeping woman ghost found in folklore across the world, said to wander in sadness, endlessly searching for lost children. How do you explain this? TikTok user Brandon Fleetwood was sitting at home playing the online game called Geoguessr. In the game, players are dropped into random locations using Street View images and must guess where they are in the world. During one round, Brandon landed on a quiet country road and noticed a parked truck in the image. To his surprise, the numbers matched exactly. The vehicle in the game appeared to be the same truck sitting outside his building. Considering Geoguessr locations are randomly selected from around the world, the coincidence seemed incredibly strange. Who was camping in that truck, and what did it all mean? This clip is believed to date back to the early 2000s and was reportedly discovered by a park ranger. No one knows who the person filming was, and there's no record of what happened to them afterward. In the footage, the camera suddenly begins shaking as the person starts running through the trees. Their breathing becomes heavy, and it's clear they are trying to escape something behind them. Then, something appears, and suddenly, the video cuts off. And no explanation followed whatsoever. Did a park ranger really find this footage? If so, what happened there? For more scary camping encounters, watch this next video.